Hello and welcome to episode 554 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. My name is Vince Hunt, and joining me as always is the artist and creator of Vanguard, the epic webcomic returning in 2026, Dan Butcher.
Hello.
And Tony Esmond. If you were a bottle of Lucasade, what Lucasade would you be?
Only because we talked about me doing a Wii in one earlier.
Yeah, well, I know, that's why it's fresh in my mind. I wonder why.
It's got to be classic, isn't it? Got to be classic.
Yeah, I really like the flavour of
Always used to give it to you when you were poorly, didn't they?
Exactly. Yeah. And here's the truth. I may have actually just pulled a sickie from school once, partly to get Lucasade.
In the old, was
Fair
it like
play, man.
The bigger
glass
bottles?
bottles.
Yeah, legit.
I've been to a couple of like Muay Thai classes, and like some of the boys
Here we
used to
go.
get the
someone.
trick was to get glass Lucasade bottles and then roll them up and down your shins to sort of deaden them.
Oh,
I was
right.
like,
I
fuck
think I've
that.
read that before. Yeah.
What?
Fuck that. Yeah.
Those
Wow.
fucking legs, people's legs, they've got no feeling in their shins.
Yeah.
Try getting kicked by one of them.
Are the
Fuck.
bottles full
Mate,
of
have you ever caught your
Lucasade when you do it, Dan? Are they empty?
No, just empty glass.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Good.
they used to have the little bubbles around the edge.
Yeah.
The rim, yeah, to hold it.
Yeah.
But have you ever caught your shin or something, or like on a table or door? It's like, fucking hell, it feels like your leg's been cutting off. So those guys doing that.
I
It's
broke
that-
a toe at Christmas. Fucking killed me for ages.
It's that like, you know when you bang into something and it doesn't hurt and then it sort of blossoms. The pain blossoms
like,
in your your leg, doesn't it? And you're like, fuck. Much like listening to this show.
You've got to
listeners.
arch your back a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vince knocked his camera there. He laughed.
I laughed so hard I almost knocked my laptop off the table. Oh dear. But you know, that's the sort of show we've got for you this week. No, actually what we've got is a fantastic
Oh,
chat-
mate, it's so
chat,
nice to have him on.
with Steve
I've been
Lafler.
so looking forward to it.
Obviously, regular listeners may know that name. Tony, one of Tony's recommendations a couple of weeks ago, and we've talked about it. Briefly appeared. What show was it you chatted to him? Tony?
Oh, mate, it's a few years ago. I recorded it, sat at his table at SPX, and that's a few years ago. That's like 3 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. But it's a fantastic, great long form interview. Going all the way back as well. You learn so much and a lot about the craft and about working with authors and so much more. So it's a great interview. And another, just happenstance, Fantagraphics. Obviously,
It was a few quid, didn't they?
we have talked about them a bit. They're celebrating their 50th year this year. And just 2 weeks completely unplanned, by the way. 2 weeks in a row, we've got two of their upcoming authors.
Alums, yeah.
And there's a reason for that because they're fantastic.
Because they
comics.
they've, like we said before, man, they're kind of the peak for us, aren't they?
Yeah.
They put out such good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is his two books are both one from them, one from him.
Yeah.
Both great. I don't know why they don't put out the other one. They should be putting them both out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what is that book? Well, you'll find out more about it. Well, should we just get straight into it?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Do it.
Okay, this week we're joined by a creator who's an ACP favourite.
Yes, indeed.
Not one, but possibly two books coming out this year. Quite a 2026. Crazy for You, which is being released from Fantagraphics and was talked about on this show a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it, Tony?
It was indeed. Loved it.
And another upcoming work, Nikki and Ramona, which we're looking forward to diving into and finding out more about that. That's a very interesting book. He's briefly
I have
appeared.
lots of theories on that one, man. Can't wait.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Get into them.
Briefly appeared on the show before. I don't know if he remembers it, but we're very pleased to have him here for a longer conversation. Welcome to the show, Steve Lafler.
I'm delighted to be here.
It's good to have you, mate. Finally on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. About a year or so ago, you almost came to London, so we were looking forward to meeting you then, but you had to cancel last minute. But yeah, it's great to have you on, man.
Yeah, we were going to do it, and then family dynamics
I
just
get you, man. I get you. Yeah, no worries.
So,
And then we did manage to go for dinner, though. The much talked about Steve Lafler dinner that we went to years ago at SPX. Me,
I thought
Cumber.
it was the Cliff dinner.
Oh no! Now he's going to message me immediately off hearing this. Yeah.
It was fun.
It
It
was
was great.
It was a good laugh.
Yeah. So 2026 is shaping up to be quite a busy year for you, both with the books and probably promotion and stuff like that. But what is, for those that may not know like the history of your work and stuff, just tell us a little bit of like your origin and like how you got started in comics.
Yeah, well, going way back, I mean, I was a kid in the early '60s, and up in upstate New York in Rochester, and in the afternoon they'd run old animations, and I just remembered my favorites would be from the '40s and even the '30s, and you'd have what's the guy's name? Max Fleischer was an
Yeah.
animator, and he did Popeye. I think he did Superman, but he had all these shorts, and there'd be kind of like a jazz soundtrack to these, and it'd be swing jazz, and some of the dialogue would just literally be rapped over the jazz. And yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, whatever, 4 or 5 years old, and I'm like, that's all I need. That's I'm set. Whatever's going on there, I want in.
We're definitely talking jazz in a minute, by the way. Just to interrupt
Yeah.
you slightly there. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't, all through high school, I did fanzine comics in the '70s. I was living in Massachusetts. There was a network of geeky people like me who wanted to do fanzines and draw comics. So I did barbarian comics. I did superhero comics. I drew about 100 pages of the Greek myths, and
Wow.
that was like a self-imposed apprenticeship. And then I got up to UMass Amherst, and they had a daily, the Massachusetts Daily Collegian had a circulation of 20,000 a day, and they had room for 4, 5, 6 student strips. So I went down there and got in the editor's face, and I got myself a strip. So I did a daily strip for 4 years. So that was a real
Wow.
bona
Awesome.
fide apprenticeship there at UMass. It was just great fun.
What sort of thing was that about? Was it character driven, or
Well,
was it local politics, or?
yeah, it was character. I guess it was character driven. I mean, I was a collegiate, sort of bonehead stoner party animal, and I mean, I looked at Crumb. I'm like, I'm going to draw guys getting stoned with big feet. I mean, and but the vehicle was the characters decided that they would be best served by some sort of secret identity or something. So they got a roll of aluminum foil, burned a doobie, and like made themselves foil hoods, which is, it's just sort of a well-known trope that people who wear aluminum foil hoods are whatever, maybe 1, 2, 3 screws loose, not to like say that's necessarily a bad thing, but so that was the like whatever vehicle, and the strip was called Aluminum Foil, and I created actually with the help of a friend of mine a character named Benba, who was
Yes.
this, yeah, Benba was this like guy who I kept in my '80s comic Dogboy. He's like a sort of a roly-poly guy with a big round bald head, just a big cartoon nose, but he's smiling, always smiling, but his mouth is stitched shut. It's like, which can be kind of cartoon shorthand for a skull. But Benba also had holes in his head for eyes, and he was sort of a nincompoop Buddha. He always did the kind of like the wrong thing, but somehow always ended up on his feet, looking good, ready for anything. So,
And
uh,
I mean, he carries through, does he? I mean, I was reading a strip about him a couple of days ago, even. He's like almost a bit of a ladies' man. The ladies liked him for his
yeah,
stoicism, I'm going to say. Yeah.
something. I'm not quite sure.
I also own a
So,
T-shirt with his face on that you sell on
Oh,
Redbubble.
right,
I'd
yeah.
like to add. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
so on
guess
those
Benba was kind of a chick magnet.
Yeah, yeah.
on those
There you
strips,
go. Right, well, you know.
strips, Steve, did you do like them in batches, or would you literally do like one a day? How would you work those?
Yeah, every Friday I had to hand in 5 strips, so I
Ah,
just
okay.
work on them through the week, and it was my favorite thing to do at that point. So I'd handily have them ready every Friday. Every once in a while, whatever would come up, finals or whatever. I was on the track team and would go to track meets, but yeah, every once in a while I do like 4 strips on the Thursday night, but yeah, I just hand them in once a week. And it was great. It was like a kind of like a little job. I didn't get paid. I didn't get credit, but
So like
I was
comics then, yeah.
yeah, I was an art yeah, comics. I was an art student, but that was kind of
Right.
like a dodge. I really was there to draw the comic strip.
Right.
Wow.
And that also, like you say, it's it's really you learn about pacing and timing, and like to do strips like that. We've talked about it many times on this show. To have be able to do what you've got to do in 4 or 5 panels or whatever.
Nothing better than comic strips for that, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And as they say, you put in your 10,000 hours, to get to a level of, I'm not going to say mastery at all, but a level of basic competence, So that was invaluable and again, an incredible amount of fun.
Sounds amazing. So is that, I've heard you talk about seeing, was it Weirdo magazine #1? You talked about it recently on your Instagram, didn't you? What was the lightning bolt that got you to do longer form comics, as it were?
Okay, by the time, let's see, Weirdo #1, I can't remember exactly, 1980, 1981 probably. And I think by then I had done one comic book called Mean Cat, uh, and like a 24 pages plus a cover. It
Yeah.
was and screen printed cover with garish purple and pink ink, and it was kind of stood out a little bit. But I think I'd done that. But then I saw Weirdo, and yeah, my first thought was, one, great to see Crumb, but at first I didn't get it because a lot of the work was by unknown cartoonists, and it looked kind of amateurish to me. Which I mean, my own work looked I look back on what I was doing at that time, which was amateurish. But yeah, I was confused by Weirdo #1, but by the next couple issues, I was like totally on board.
Were you still in Massachusetts back then, were you? Is it?
No, no, yeah. Upon graduation from UMass, I wanted to be somewhere else. And I was frankly scared of Manhattan. I don't know why, in retrospect. I guess I grew up in the burbs, I was like pretty green. So I went out west, poked around, and I ended up in Eugene, Oregon, which was, fun. I lived there a few years, but I was in Oregon, and yeah, I just started publishing comics there. Started
Cool.
freelancing to make a living, set up a screen print and graphics shop, and was able to sell enough jobs to survive and publishing comics.
And is that where we got Dogboy? Was that kind of your first themed one or character driven one
Yeah,
or whatever you
yeah,
want to call
yeah.
it?
I did,
Yeah.
I did Mean Cat, and I did 3 comic books called Guts. And the
Yes.
first 2 were I called them Guts because they were just like glue bound. They were bound with glue, not even staples.
Right.
Uh, they were like little newsprint, 24 page. Guts #1 was a 24 page newsprint thing. Guts #2, again, no cover, 24 pages of newsprint, well, 32 pages. And then Guts #3 was my first comic book with a color cover, black and white inside, 32 pages, summer of 1982. And that was the first Dogboy story there.
Right.
Um, yeah, and I just, I don't know, I realized in retrospect that I'd actually been doodling Dogboy for a couple of years without even thinking of him as a character. But then I'm like, oh no, this is my guy. Uh, at the time I was a young man. I was working for myself because I had this t-shirt shop, and it just kind of bam, that kind of worked. Doing wholesale printing, and I had enough left over to publish comic books. And but really, what I was doing a lot was just drawing comics, drinking beer, frankly, dropping acid here and there, and just I don't know, my inner dog manifested itself in comics.
So,
And
I mean,
yeah, that
for
worked
the
for me.
listeners who don't know what Dogboy is, he's not a superhero. He's not as he sounds. He's I guess whatever you wanted him to be at the time. Is that right? It's all different
Yeah, it
things,
was
isn't
kind
he?
of a stand-in for me. I'd like
Right.
he'd spout off about politics, and he'd you know make a general ass of himself, and but I don't know. It's and I guess part of what it was is I like the idea of spontaneity, and I was writing it off the top of my head. I'd sit down, I'd cut a bunch of Bristol paper to comic book page size, and I'd sit down and I just start drawing. again, frankly, I was probably smoking a little bit of green bud and then just blasting off. I don't know, man. I was pretty free with what was happening then, but I
Yeah.
was also, I was electrified by seeing Weirdo.
Yeah.
I was electrified by seeing the Comics Journal. All of a sudden, we had Pacific Comics with Dave Stevens working. You had, I never was quite understood it, but I was really impressed by Dave Sim and his Cerebus because that guy was self-publishing a comic on a monthly basis and selling 10, 15, 20,000 of them. And I
Yeah.
thought, that's what I got to do. Uh, so he inspired me. I mean, you know, Dave, as you probably know, he's fallen from grace in the
Yeah,
world.
mate,
Um,
I'm a massive fan of Cerebus. I absolutely
yeah,
am.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're right.
no, I mean,
That black and white comics explosion. I kind of see
yeah.
you as part of that, definitely.
I
Yeah,
was part of that, yeah,
yeah,
because I was publishing Dog. Let me also mention that one of the greatest things that happened then too was, let's face it, the Hernandez brothers
yes,
emerged. I think they put out their first Love and Rockets the same season I put out Mean Cat, which was the
yeah. Sounds right. Yeah,
spring of 1981. And if you look, there's an issue of the Comics Journal that's the Harvey Kurtzman issue, and the first Love and Rockets is reviewed in there, and Mean Cat is also reviewed in
oh,
there.
is it? I have that. I'll dig it out.
Yeah,
Oh,
now,
great.
at the time, my work was, I'm going to say, frankly, kind of developmental, but there you had Jaime and Gilbert and Mario. At that point, they had it down. Those guys had the
Straight
talent.
off the bat.
They
Yeah,
had the focus, and even I know Mario. I know those guys, but I know Mario the best. And he said that like
right.
you know they were all drawing along doing comics. And Mario already had a family, and he's like, well, he's like at one point, we're just hanging out, and like Jaime's like, oh, let me show you guys what I've been doing. And he says he's more or less said, basically they're like, when the hell did you start drawing like that? And Jaime's just wow, what a talent,
Yeah,
what a guy.
what blacks, what
Yeah,
amazing shapes, and yeah, no, we talked about them a couple of weeks ago
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
kind of the boys weren't that into it for a while until I got them a Christmas
You
present.
gave me a book, yeah, and I read it.
Yeah, and we're like, wow, yeah, so good.
Yeah,
Craftsmanship is fucking amazing,
the
man.
Yeah,
range of comics. I mean, good comics, even back then, was an acquired taste, and any good artist you may or may not get.
yeah,
Um, and my hero might be your zero, right? And
yeah.
that's that's
Yeah.
that's for real. That's
Well,
for real.
Yeah.
American comics took a different road from British comics, man. That was the thing. While you were having your black and white explosion and then the Turtles and all that sort of thing, we had Warrior in 2000 AD and
Yeah.
stuff. Equally good, just very different, I think, sometimes.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely. I have to say, going quickly back to Dogboy, I've been sending the boys pictures from Dogboy, from a couple of your collections. I've got the complete Dogboy and the choice cuts ones.
Ah, there
And
you go.
there's a great page. I stuck it on our Slack of you as Dogboy coming up with inspiration to write a comic strip. It doesn't involve you doing acid, to be fair. It's just you sort of wandering around, and then the sort of lightning bolt hits. But they're both
Yeah,
one
yeah.
pages as well. And I really thought that's how I really compare you in a way to the way that people like Crumb were working. And I know you're friends with her. Mary Fleener was working at the time. It's
Yeah.
almost like one thing can be one page, and another thing can be 20 pages. It's just
Mm.
how you felt at the time.
Yeah,
There was no
Mm.
constraints from publishers, I guess.
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
But back then, you kind of moved into working or being published by Fantagraphics around that time. Was that slightly after that?
Well, yeah, what happened is I did, let's see, Guts number 3 in 82. That was the first Dog Boy story, which was half of that magazine. I mean, the cover didn't even have Dog Boy. It had a character named Guido Kratchmer being like threatened by Mr. Poop. So I put a big turd on the cover. Always, man, if you want, everyone knows you want to sell a magazine, put a big shit on the cover.
That's how Trump sells comics, as I understand it. I don't know if that's,
Anyway,
uh,
it was picked up for distribution. That was my first. Well, the Mean
right.
Cat sold to one distributor, but the first Dog Boy story sold to like three or four. Ron Turner, Last Gasp, picked that one up, and
Nice.
then
Okay.
Ron, God bless him, Ron just distributed everything I ever did, and he's a beautiful human being.
I mean,
Yeah, he just is.
if you don't mind me asking about the whole acid thing, I mean, kids don't understand how much an impact it had on the arts.
Yeah.
You know, from the 60s through to the 80s. Did it have an effect on your work, do you think?
Well, I would say yes. Uh, LSD is a very specific drug, and I feel that you got to be careful, but it is,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a beneficial thing within certain parameters. To be completely honest, the thing that really changed my life, as it were, would be mushroom psilocybin. When I was
Right.
19 years old, in the dorms, me and a bunch of kids got a hold of some mushrooms and ate them, and we were having fun. But I seemed to get some sort of upgrade that my friends didn't get, and
Wow. Okay.
went through the whole infamous, I guess, what you would call it, an ego death experience, and just shot out of the cannon through, several million years or whatever. And then you come back at the end of it and you're like, wow, that only took 4 hours, I mean, so
But do you
yeah,
feel like you were significantly changed from that moment, or?
yeah.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
rearranged
Yeah.
what I thought reality was, to be quite honest. I mean, I had, a more conventional idea of what reality and the human race and everything is, and that changed it. And that's kind of provided a lot of fuel for the subject matter of Dogboy
Yeah.
too. I was interested in explaining the nature of reality to myself because, it's an ongoing process. I know it's like you look at like the physicists who come up with a model to describe uh, the world or reality, and they always have theories and they always test those theories, but they never stop searching. And I think
No.
that's kind of what an artist does. You have an idea of what the world is, but you have to probe at it. You have
Mm,
to
yeah.
be in the moment and be open to ideas, And I mean, spontaneity is more important, I'd say, in my work than psychedelics.
Right.
I feel like I'm fortunate because I'm willing to open myself up and capture the ideas that present themselves in the moment. And
Interesting.
like I'll tell you, I like to run. I'm a
Yeah.
distance runner. I run and
First time we ever met, you were sweaty walking back into the hotel, and I said, "Steve," and I shook your hand. And I thought, "Yeah, he's been for a run." Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, then, I mean, if I'm going out for a long run, just by the end of it, usually some ideas pop into my
Yeah.
head. They might
Mm.
be about, something about my cat or my daughter, but it might be for art too.
That's the chemical dopamine, isn't
So,
it? Essentially, that's the
Yeah.
same as
but
Exactly.
Looking out the window time.
same
yeah,
as when Hoffman fell off his bicycle.
yeah.
You're going for a run in a similar way. You know,
But
it's a similar.
Yeah.
when those moments happen, and we've talked about this on the show before. Sometimes like when you're talking about a story, you're thinking about stories on a walk. You get your phone out and write it down. And with you, do you immediately like get back from a run and pull the notebook out and start scribbling down notes and stuff?
Yeah, yeah. I hate bringing I love one thing I love about the run is ditching my phone.
Mm.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
but I'll tell you, one of my favorite experiences I had in that respect was I used to live in Oaxaca, and the city of Oaxaca, right behind it, or I guess just to the north, is you go up another 4 or 5 thousand foot real quick. So I go running in those mountains.
Wow.
One day I was running back, and I was like playing a lot of music then, and this like song came into my head. I looked uphill. There's like a hill. There's a cornfield growing on the hill in the morning sun, and just like that, a song came into my head, and I just sang it all the way home. I had to. I kept singing it, and as
To
soon as I
remember it.
got home, I wrote down the lyrics, and I kind of started feeling lazy after a couple of miles. I'm like, I'll remember them. And I'm like, no, keep singing this damn song. And when you write it down as soon as you stop.
Oh, my memory is terrible, man. I forget things immediately unless somehow.
Same.
I've written a thing this week for the Substack how I have a habit of just waking up in the night and writing something in my phone, and the nonsense that I look at in the morning. How
Yeah.
did that happen? Yeah, you're right. But I mean, music's a big part of all your I kind of feel like music and comics comes together for you a lot. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, it really does. I think I love rock and roll and I love blues. I'm kind of a musical omnivore. I mean, my wife even got me liking Madonna. What can I say? But you know, so yeah, but in the fact of jazz, well, different genres. You see improvisation. You see people making things up in the moment. That's one of the good things about it. The other thing is, I mean, the beat, the swing. There's syncopated movements, syncopated sounds, and I I feel like you can capture those. One of the beautiful things about comics is it's sequential art. It presents itself through time. You can if you catch some good ideas, especially if you're improvising, there can be like the sequence, there's a beat. And you hear someone like Keith Richards talk about swing in music, and a little hard to define, but man, if you hear a good rock and roll song, you know when it swings, and and then you could listen to Billy Joel, and it doesn't swing, I mean, whatever. But um, that there's an equivalent to that in creating comics.
There's a rhythm to it, do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
swing, just the
Yeah.
the feeling, the feeling. It's all about
Okay.
the feeling. And it's
Wow.
it's
Okay.
ethereal. You can't really describe it, but you know it when you see it, or
We
you
were
feel it when it's happening.
I get you, man. We were talking a couple of weeks ago, weren't we? I think with you, Vince, about that moment in a song where everything stops. Come up and see me, make me smile. You get that famous
Yeah,
gap, an air gap, and you
yeah,
can do that in comics. You can pause
Yeah.
things in a comic, yeah, in a really interesting and but similar way to music. I feel,
mm.
yeah, because you play. Is it banjo you play? I guess you play a few things here.
No, I play rhythm guitar. I have a little band with my friends. When I lived in Oaxaca, I had a great band. We'd go out and do gigs and stuff. But I'm kind of the rhythm guitar player and the songwriter. And
Wow.
I describe myself as a caveman guitar player. I'm competent to bash out a song, but you start the noodling. I can kind of like fill in between a little bit. But
Right.
there's a
Do you,
reason I'm a cartoonist.
did you tell me you're in a band with Mary Fleener? Is that right? I think you told me that.
No, no, I was never in a band with
Right.
Fleener. My buddy, are you familiar with the cartoonist J.R. Williams?
Think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he's a good friend of Fleener's too, and J.R. and Fleener's husband Paul, and this other cartoonist called Wayno, who now does Pizarro or Bizarro, whatever. Anyway, they kind of had the band. I would be the guy in the audience, like slugging beer and yelling at him. Yeah, but Fleener, she's worked back in the '70s mostly, and into the '80s. Mary's worked as a professional musician, played in
Okay.
many bar bands. In fact, she's tying up a book, and I do believe Fantagraphics is going to publish it. It is basically her real graphic novel about the world of being in bar bands. And
Wow. Okay.
she's such a,
Yeah.
she it's going to be a great book. She's a not only is she an excellent storyteller, but and she captures the dynamic. To talk about swing, man, Mary's comics swing, and also her style of drawing is
It's
there's
like
only one
Zapper
Mary
on a
Fleener.
page to me sometimes.
When
She's
you
got
see
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you see it. It's no one can do it. She
I,
does.
I, lo- I love her underground stuff. She had that little period where she did the kids' books, didn't she? Was it about a bee or something? I'm kind of thinking. Um,
She might have. She
yeah.
did. She did. I don't know if you're thinking about. She did something for Zongo, which was Matt Groening's
Oh,
kind of
okay.
like semi-underground label. Um, I forget. I had some of those, but yeah, it's probably 25 years ago. I
Well,
don't
this is more
remember.
recent. I met her at a Huntington Beach convention,
Okay.
I think in
Okay.
Okay.
2018 or something. She was doing like a kids' book back then. But yeah, her previous style is so. There's nothing like it, is it? Her actual style is almost like a quilt of images just sewn together,
Yeah.
kind of.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, she has a handle on using cubism in comics, but it's
Yeah.
more than just that. She's created something that only she can do. And I'll tell you, she's a great cartoonist, but she's probably even a greater painter. I mean, well, she can
Well,
work in
okay.
any medium. She's But yeah, her paintings I just love. I mean, she's a master painter.
Yeah, brilliant.
I just look at it and I'm like, you know, it's like one of my musician friends, he'll hear someone really good and he goes, I'm just going to go home and cut my fingers off.
It's the famous,
Painters like that.
is it the famous Clapton quote when he saw Jimi Hendrix, said, I'm gonna need to go home and practice. Yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So I suppose we should really move on to your new books now. Having read them both, thank you very much for the preview copies as well, dude. Absolutely loved it.
Sure.
Awesome.
A couple of questions have come out. Firstly, do you think your style has changed from the days of Dogboy? Not that you've stopped doing it, but do you think it's a different way? You almost seem to be, I don't want to say tighter, but longer story form kind of drawing,
Yeah.
tighter sequentials, maybe. Do you think?
I'd say yes. The common thread is inking with a brush always, but
Right.
and being inspired by Milton Caniff, Will Eisner, even like Marie Severin, the great Marvel artist, was a brilliant with a brush. Um, but yeah, it's a different type of storytelling. I think that when I did Bughouse in the 90s and early aughts, I fell into the world of more detail, cross-hatching, kind of like, I mean, I was inspired. The guys, some of my contemporaries were like going off on the cross-hatching, Pete Bagg and Dan Close at that point, um, and of course Crumb, I mean, God, that guy just master, but so yeah, I really got into that cross-hatching thing for a while, but then at a certain point, I thought, I don't know, I wanted more clarity. So I retreated from the cross-hatching and just started going for a little bit more of a clear look, uh, probably by the end of Bughouse. These more recent books, um, I've been telling stories that have a reason to tighten up.
Okay.
And that is their like the 1956 Nikki and Ramona stuff. I'm telling a story in New York City in the 1950s.
Mm.
I used a lot of reference. I dig through online and other and
And
books and magazines.
your dad was in that scene, is that right?
Excuse me?
Your dad was in that scene as well.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, 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 it was partially inspired by my dad's early career when he was 30 in 1956 and he
Okay.
himself he's kind of my dad's the model for that character who's the chief buyer in
Right.
there. And so yeah, they'd go down to New York and cause all that kind of trouble when they weren't working.
It's
But
it's the jazz clubs and the scene, and
yeah, yeah,
it's much about music and yeah, sorry.
I was using reference to like get the look of the cars and the look of the buildings. I mean, that's simple. And that kind of like, you know, there's a formal element to that. Kind of slows things down and tightens things up a bit. But Dogboy was an improvised comic, and so starting in the 90s, honestly, with Bughouse, I really wanted to slow down and tell stories in a more sort of like, not necessarily a traditional way of telling stories, but I wanted a longer narrative.
Yeah.
Dogboy was improvised. Some of the stories kind of like would go over a few issues, but I never knew how to end a story. The storyboards, I mean, the stories would probably peter out at a certain point instead of actually end. So I thought, hey, I'm like in my late 30s. Let's learn to write.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
started I started reading there's an author called Dawn Powell, an obscure novelist in New York in the 40s and 50s. She wrote a series of very dark comic novels about life in Greenwich Village and places like that.
Oh wow.
The Wicked Pavilion, The Golden Spur were two great novels by Dawn Powell. And I read those when I was doing Bughouse over and over. And I just got excited about the idea of capturing the feel of New York in the 50s. Also, I'd read the autobiography of Miles Davis at that point, and I was kind of, then I saw at the same time the Naked Lunch movie by David Cronenberg,
Yeah.
William Burroughs, and all that stuff came together, and and I wanted to write coherent stories. Also, part of the dynamic for me at that point was I'd been kind of drinking too much beer, mostly, at least it was beer, for years, and it wasn't working for me anymore. And that was part of the spontaneity in Dogboy. So this Bughouse story I did for a long time, part of the point of it was to explain myself the dynamics of addiction and what it does to artists and how artists interface with addiction. And I got a big long graphic novel out of it, and I also managed to like stop drinking too much.
Yeah, Bughouse is excellent, man. That's still available. You can still get Bughouse, can't you? It's get it off Amazon. Yeah. If we go back to what you're at the moment calling Nikki and Ramona, and I know you've sort of played about with some different titles on some different versions of the bootleg you created. That's I read 1956 when it came out on print on demand. I think I just searched your name on Amazon and found it, and it's a really interesting book. And there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about in it. Is firstly, you play with. I hate the phrase gender politics because it shouldn't be political. Firstly, it's just But one of the characters is Ramon, aka Ramona.
Right.
And you treat the person differently in different circumstances depending on who they are and where they are.
Right.
But the thing the real pleasure I had in reading in it is the acceptance that people just have for it, and it happens twice in the book. One, the business guy, someone says to him, that's a trans person, and he just says, yeah, don't care. And the other one is with the female business lady who she takes out Ramona to do like a modeling interview. And she says, I've got one thing. She keeps trying to interrupt her through it. I've got something to tell you. And eventually she says, look, don't worry about it. I've seen someone with big hands before. And then we just move on. And it's just like accepted. And I think that's just beautiful, the way you deal with that, man. Yeah, I've got to tell you.
Well, one of the questions was, the whole trans thing's been in the news for a long time.
Yeah.
And especially in the United States, it's just so weird how it's like, hey, Trump needed someone to hate. Well, let's pick on these people,
Same around the world, man. Same around the world.
Yeah. And so the question was, well, what would it? So that's today. What would it be like for a trans person in the New York City of the '50s? I like that story set in that world. I like that show. There was a show in the United States, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, about a Jewish women comedian in New York in the '50s. So it's kind of 1956 is a little inspired by that too. And also, frankly, I'm sort of on the trans, what I would say, spectrum myself.
Right. Okay.
I'm not a person who's. I am not compelled to be a female or full-time transgender, but there's times where there's an art opening, I'll just show up in a dress. People are like, oh, there's Steve, he's wearing a dress. But it's like I guess it was Walt Whitman, the great American poet, said, I contain multitudes. And it's like, I don't know. I'm a cartoonist. I'm a caveman rhythm guitar player. I'm a marathoner. And occasionally I go to art galleries wearing a dress, Who cares?
Fair enough.
Exactly.
Why should you care?
That's the point, man. Nobody cares, and this is the '50s. Nobody rattles on about it. They just accept it. It's and it's so refreshing to find that these two different people, just go, yeah, fair enough, whatever. But against the background where it was actually against the law at the time. Yeah.
Part of the conceit of that was that. Okay, so we're out at these midtown jazz clubs, and in the all through the '50s, and even this started in the '40s, I think there was a series of jazz clubs that put bebop jazz on the map. The Three Deuces.
So the places you name in the book are actual places.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I was going to ask
Birdland. Yeah. And and I wanted to draw those clubs as they were, Village Vanguard, and that. So, and the bars are open in New York till 4 a.m. And so you got to figure and it's New York City, it's Manhattan. You got to figure everything's going to happen. I mean, the cops are going to be out, but of course they're also going to be paid off by this one and that one. There's going to be drugs. There's going to be hookers. There's going to be mobsters. All this stuff is going to be there. So just I mean, it's just a statistical fact that there's going to be gay and trans people too,
Yeah.
doing whatever they do and dealing with it as best they can. But yeah, so
I do love the fact that everyone, no matter whether you're a drug dealer or you're a supplier of stolen passports or you're selling cocaine, everyone wears a fucking suit. I do love that, man. I just love that scene somehow. That must be such a joy to draw, you know?
I've always loved, my dad was a kind of a dapper guy, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was his career is straddled. He started in the late 40s. He got his first job, and yeah, they looked good. They wore these big ass hats and these nice suits. Yeah, my dad got hired to be for this McCurdy's chain. That's the real name of the store. He got hired out of business school in 1949 to be a management trainee at McCurdy's, and he shows up the first day. And all of these got his suit and his hat, and he shows up, and they're like, "Well, what do you want me to do the first day?" They're like, "Get out of that monkey suit, put on these overalls, and go. You're gonna go work a few days on the loading dock."
Right, cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
yeah,
And I do like the fact they're all loaded by lunchtime as well. They're all
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
all
yeah.
pissed as puddings, as we like to say in London,
yeah,
Steve, by
yeah.
That's
lunchtime, aren't
right.
they? Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
whenever I watch Mad Men, it's like,
It's so like that.
they
Oh,
all
you'll
they
love
all
it,
look
man.
absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic, and everyone's just drinking it for breakfast.
But
And
they look fantastic. They're all in suits, but they're
yeah,
worse than a geezer in a t-shirt down the high street. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah,
They're bigger beer monsters than anyone else. Yeah, I know. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, that must have been a little bit of an influence, Mad Men as well. I guess I do feel that vibe.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
the look and the sort of like vibe of that show is in there.
Yeah, cool.
That's
And the other
awesome.
thing is you do throw in real jazz people. So Coltrane's in it, Davis is in it. There's lots of people in it, aren't there? And they talk about them. Oh, Davis is playing down at the such and such club. Let's go and hit it. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah, why not? I mean, it's fiction, and but I feel free to throw in any historical figure I feel like. Why not? And um, yeah, I mean, with the writer Gore Vidal, he had in the last century he styled himself. He wrote many things, but he styled himself the biographer of America.
I
So
know. Yeah.
he would write all these historical novels, Lincoln, Roosevelt, all these people, and he just makes stuff up. I mean, he had a lot of the facts straight, but he'd make stuff up about him, and it's great reading.
I love watching interviews on old American television he had because he used to have a good row on an interview show. He'd like it would kick off back then. None of this
That's right.
politeness. Yeah, yeah, they'd have
Yeah,
like an argument. Yeah, no, I love all that. So Corvidale, yeah, interesting guy.
yeah.
I'll send you I drew him once. I'll send you it to you. The but so as I understand it, 1956 was the first bit, and is it so? It's kind of Nick and Ramona is three books together. Is that right? Which you're now
Yeah,
looking
the
to get
first two
published.
are in there, and then yeah, let's see. I finished the art for Crazy for You at the very end of 2024, December 2024. I finished that. And then, so in 2025, I wrote and drew another, I guess it was about 45 pages of comics to finish off the Nikki and Ramona story. And now, like I say, I'm putting them together in this one book. And believe it or not, I've got these so far two different titles and two different covers I'm considering. And then, of course, I was out on a long run the other day and I got an idea for another one. So now
Okay.
I'm gonna mock up another cover with another title. As when I was a kid in college, I was officially studying painting, and one of the painters I really liked was a guy named Hans Hofmann. He was kind of an abstract expressionist, but he was compelled to like put these blocks of really, it'd be like Jackson Pollock just throwing paint all over. And then in the middle of it, there'd be a couple of like perfect rectangles of like super bright color, just, and the paint's like a quarter inch thick, and it always looked great to me. And so I'm right now, it's just sitting there in my studio. I've got the cover, the line art there, kind of like on this canvas, and I'm just starting to just paint it like impasto, this thick acrylic bright colors, like it was Hans Hofmann. Because I'm thinking of just calling it 1956, and if it's going to be that, I'll put like this 1956 style sort of like painterly color in it and see.
Yeah.
That might be the one, but I'll see how it comes out.
That's an interesting one. I think we can move over with you talking about the creation of art to start talking perhaps about the destruction of art, which is crazy for you. So
Yeah.
how did the Paul Theroux gig come about, and what was we'd like to know the process for how you worked it.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Paul Theroux is quite a famous novelist, also a travel writer. Louis'
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah.
He's quite a figure, isn't he? So I just wondered how that came about, Steve.
Yeah, Paul's an amazing guy, obviously, and I've been a big fan of his work since the '80s. My entree to his work was reading the old Patagonian Express, where he gets on the train in South Station in Boston, and he finally gets off the train in Patagonia.
Right.
Is it in Chile or Argentina? I forget which. I think it might be in Chile. So that's a long train trip, and he wrote a good book about it. He's not writing about like, oh, I stayed at this hotel and I ate this soup, turpin soup. Oh, it was so good. I mean, he's talking about the people he meets on the way, and he hangs out with the poorest people, and he'll, have his status at a certain point, and he'll hang out with like practically the heads of state. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So
It's the Hemingway thing. You got to have something to write about. You got to have a life to write about. I think Theroux kind of
exactly
is a bit like that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had written a book called, I'd lived in Mexico for 10 years, and then my family moved back to the States. The kids wanted to go to high school in the States, little bastards, but so the wife and I decided, okay, we'll let him go back to the United States. But anyway, we lived in Oaxaca for almost 10 years, and we raised our kids there. And you don't need as much money there. So we were able to do this thing, work part-time when the kids are in school. Kids get out of school, we're hanging out with them, We're going to be actual parents. And that was cool. But anyway, so when we got back here, Paul put out a travel book called On the Plain of Snakes, A Mexican Journey. And this guy's already one of my top 5 favorite authors. So I'm like, well, I can't wait to read this. And it's a great book. He got Mexico right. In the United States, the whole time we were there, the media is like, don't go to Mexico, you'll get your head cut off, Yeah, right. I mean, yes, there are plenty of dangerous places in Mexico, but there's plenty of sublime and wonderful places. Occasionally they're the same places, but Oaxaca, kind of off the main, it's a little bit more now, but it was off the main routes of the narco-traficantes. It's just a fantastic cultural jewel nestled in the mountains of southern Mexico. So I read his book. He got it right. He just got Mexico right. And I wrote him a fan letter. I mean, I just said, dude, I've lived there for 10 years. It's so refreshing to read someone who reports honestly on the real Mexico. And thank you. To my great surprise, he wrote me back, and he's like, "Thank you." He's like, "It means a lot to me that someone who knows what they're talking about can tell me that." And then we started a friendly email exchange, and being like a fairly narcissistic cartoonist is you gotta read at some point. I said, "Oh,
Dude, you're the least narcissistic person
would
I
you
know.
mind
Don't give us that.
reading? Would you mind reading my book about Mexico, which is Death Plays a Mean Harmonica? It's like a graphic novel with maybe about 140, 150 pages.
Cool.
It's like, I don't write autobiography. I throw myself and my family into the books, but if I have to be able to embroider freely to make stuff up. So this was my Mexico book. He wrote me back, and he's like, he said, yeah, send it along. He read it. He wrote me back. He's like, this is fantastic. He's like, I like comics. When I was a kid, I loved DC comics.
Nice.
I love the like horrible bad endings, and like a lot of his short stories have horrible bad endings. It's like, so I guess he did like these.
Yeah.
That's something
Imprinted on him.
I tell you what, that's so interesting you say that, because one of the things like about Minor Watts and like that, I got a real EC vibe.
Me too, man.
About
Massively.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Even the way like your inks and the shadows, like the way everything is. And
thank you.
and
It's
I'm a
got an
fan of
easy
that as
ending,
well.
hasn't it? I think it's got an easy ending. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, well, both of us wanted to play to that a little bit,
Okay.
not slavishly because that would be too much work, but but yeah, so anyway, after he read my thing, he goes, "Hey, how would you like to collaborate?" And I mean, you could have knocked me over with a feather. Here's this like world famous dude who's just like wildly accomplished, all these films and everything, and I'm like, and I'm just like,
Mosquito Coast
here.
is that one is, isn't it? I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I have like my little following, but I'm pretty damn obscure, and I'm like, okay, Paul, I'll work with you. And I think the way he remembers it seems to be that like maybe it was my idea that we collaborate, but whatever whatever he says, we'll go with whatever Paul says. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll do that, and I had to think about it because obviously, if you're going to sit down and draw a couple hundred pages of comics, it's you're going to devote yourself. But I think that any artist, you got to take yourself out of your comfort zone. You
Okay.
gotta like, I don't know if any of you guys ever read Carlos Castaneda. I read all that stuff when I was a teenager, but he's like, sort of the mystical Mexican shamanism bit. And he's like, in life, you get this cubic centimeter of chance that floats by once in a while, and you got to grab it when it comes by. And that was like, to work with Paul was one of those moments. And I knew I'd worked my ass off for a long time. And I thought, bring it on, man. I can't wait. This is just going to be really fun. And also, the narcissist in me said, maybe I'll get famous.
But
Did he choose the stories, Steve? Because for those who don't know, who haven't listened to our review, it's two separate stories. Did he choose
Yeah.
what he wanted adapted? Yeah, yeah.
So he had put out a collection of short stories shortly before we met online called Mr. Bones. It's a fairly brilliant collection. I guess there's about 20 stories in it. And because of the kind of guy he is, they've appeared in like magazines at the level of the New Yorker and the Atlantic. These big
Yeah.
magazines and stuff. And so he said, well, he's like, why don't you could check, he's got a copy of Mr. Bones and have a look. And I had a look. And so we discussed back and forth what stories would be appropriate. And we ended up choosing 3 stories. We had maybe 6, 7 stories under consideration. And then, so we were going to do 3, and I figured it was going to be 200 pages. Once I really got into breaking it down and translating his prose into comics, it became clear. I did Minor Watt first, and I thought that was going to be 40, 50 pages. It ended up being, I think, 74 pages. So I'm like, Paul, I think we're going to maybe go with 2 stories if you don't mind, And I mean, it took me 3 years to draw this stuff,
Wow,
because I
okay.
mean,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on. I have a disabled daughter who I'm her main caregiver, so
Okay.
I get about 5 hours a day cartooning. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good, man.
I don't want to do more than that anyway. If you want to bring your best self, your best stuff in, that's plenty.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. With that though, like just say you have that 5-6 hour period. Is there a sweet spot? Like the warm up. Do you find that it's about hour 2 or 3? You're really in the zone.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, uh, you trust when you start, you trust that it will come, and you get going, and I think that when you're first doing it, whether it's drawing or inking or writing, you got to be willing to climb on the pony and get warmed up. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then once you're in the flow, things can happen that are surprising. It's always, I mean, for me, it's always a treasure hunt. And the process, I think, I think motivation varies from artist to artist, cartoonist to cartoonist. For me, the process is its own reward. It's just,
Mm.
it's like the life I want to live. And it's so much fun. I
Mm.
mean, I like all kinds of music, but I'll tell you, I'm also a deadhead. And that's what old Jerry
Me too,
Garcia,
man. Yeah,
is it fun? Is it
yeah,
fun? You know?
yeah. I've written down it's always a treasure hunt. I've written that in my notebook, man. That's a great way of looking at it, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I laughed out loud a number of times, and I sort of, punched the air in that first story, man, with the just the destruction of the pompousness of art. I just loved it. Is that one of the things that drew you to it, do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I was a painting student at UMass for, the last whatever 4 years of the 70s. And even the professors were, some of them were people who were teaching at UMass because they were like, they failed in Manhattan, 2.5 hours away by car or train. And the egos, the narcissism, the pompousness, and
Yeah.
but I can say this about my professors, but I had some wonderful teachers too.
Mm.
Like the guy who
Yeah.
turned me on to Hans Hoffman was a painting teacher. His name was John Grillo. I guess Hoffman had actually been his teacher in the 50s, but
Oh, wow. Okay.
Grillo, we would have a 2 or 3 hour painting studio on like whatever Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. Grillo would show up 45 minutes late, lunch drunk, literally drunk. Hey, John, how are you? Put one color next to another. See what you think.
Genius. So
Yeah.
we won't spoil it, I think that is the
Yeah.
point of these stories, but it does start with him destroying art
Yeah.
because he
Yes.
accidentally gets this thrill of dropping a Ming
Yeah.
vase.
Yeah.
But the bit I like about it is then some kids, sort of arty kids, turn up and say, "Oh, now you're part of a movement. This is like a
Mm.
kind of a new progressive movement." He says, "Get fucked. I just like
Yeah.
destroying art."
Yeah.
I thought, "Oh yes, thank you."
But seeing
Yeah.
it like the look on his face and the way like you've done the shading and stuff, that's like the EC villain, like a murderer.
so intense.
The thrill
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
murder. I was wondering, how do you like pick certain moments? Because one thing that stuck out to me, like everything's moving at a certain pace, and like when there's a minor spoiler, there's a bit of art that looks like a target, and he ruins it. I'm not going to spoil how he ruins it.
Yeah.
And the artist is like, this just isn't done. And the next page is a splash page with just a little bit of art in the middle where he goes, true, except I've just done it. Which is a wonderful moment. But what caught me was like, everything's so intense, and then you stop, and everything else is white around apart from this one moment. How do you pick moments like that to focus on little bits?
Yeah, I had drawn a page to make that point, and it bothered me. It was like whatever, 6 or 5 or 7 panels, and I'm like, this isn't working for me. So then, I come back to it a couple days later, and I put that page aside, and I just drew that guy standing there. And at first, I thought, this is a cop out, man. This is like people aren't going to get their money's worth with so little drawing on a page. I'm like, no, no, no. It's like, you know, make a point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Another
works
thing
because
I,
everything's so intense around it, and then bang, that's like a moment, isn't it?
well, it's great to get that feedback because that's not exactly how I thought of it, but I was just going on intuition and trying
Mm.
to like, underline it. But yeah, yeah, there was some thought, but just kind of going with a hunch, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's the age old sort of artist sort of getting in your own head as well. It's like, you do all this art, and then if you just have the power of it is a small bit image in the middle of the page, but like you say, you feel like it feels like this is too easy. Do I need to do more around it? Do you know what I mean? Sometimes we get in our heads, don't we, about things
And
like
he's a pretty awful dude. I won't spoil
He's
quite
bad.
how awful, but I kind of quite like him in a way, Steve. I don't know if that's okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I liked him. I liked him for his glee with destructiveness, and I drew the sequence where Paul has him at the auction, and I did a bunch of research on that. I looked up auctions, and I watched little videos of people auctioning off art, I'm like, oh, I really want to capture that, and then he just shuts down the auction by like wildly overbidding everyone and pissing off all these kind of like fancy pants art collectors. And I mean, that was I was totally with him. I was like, I was on his side at that point.
Yeah, the wankers who gather around him at times, you think, I prefer this dude to that bloke with the fucking silly moustache and harmonica.
There's the moment where people go, "Oh, I love this American art," and he's like, "It's Mexican."
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
I actually knew some people like that once. I won't say too much about it because I wouldn't want them to hear this, but I knew these art collectors who lived in Back Bay in Boston around when I was a student, and they had a lot of name artists in their fancy pants apartment, and I mean, they were like friends of friends, and they were nice enough people, but oh my God, they were just so highfalutin and kind of like stuck on their station in life and collecting their famous artists. That was sort of like,
The point for me where I think they're normally twats is when, okay, have an opinion about art, but it's when they tell you off about your opinion.
Yeah,
that's when they really get up my nose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they point out to you, well, actually, you're wrong about that. I said, no, I'm fucking not. It's a bit of that.
It's subjective. It's subjective. It's not,
exactly.
There's no absolutes. The thing about the artist where he's destroying the target painting. The interesting thing is that was based on actual real artists. Talk about putting real people in there, and it was an artist that Paul Theroux was friends with. He put his friend in the story, and and I know there's some other short stories. Paul put a book out, another short story collection, his next short story collection last year called The Vanishing Point. Right. Another very dark collection of stories, but there's some uplift in it. But and in fact, he wrote a story about a character who lived in Maine, who worked for a painter, and it was based on that same painter. I think that the target.
Okay.
Ken something or other, Ken Norland, I forget the name. But it's interesting that I knew he was a real painter, but I didn't know that Paul was friends with him until recently. I think we were writing back and forth. He mentioned that indeed. Oh no! I was reading in one of his books about how he was friends with him.
Right.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
Fascinating, mate.
Yeah. I think his friend has since passed away, but it's interesting that he's willing to like take a famous artist friend and like put his stuff
wait until he writes a book and he's got a famous cartoonist friend. See what happens to you.
Yeah, we'll see. Wait till the other shoe drops, huh?
Exactly. So when's it out? When's Crazy Few out?
I've been told that March 17th it will be out.
Okay, cool.
It was going to be 2 days from now, February 10th, but I think they had some. I think their system got a little bit. They put out a lot of books, and I think their scheduling with their printers got a little bit. They had a few things in the pipeline, and this had to wait to sequence through getting some press space. So we're going to have it in hand in March.
Nice. It's up for pre-order at the Forbidden Planet site and on Amazon at the moment, so you can get it there.
Yeah, and I would assume by now I haven't really paid attention to this part of it, but if you're a retailer, I'm sure you could probably go to Fantagraphics, distributor, book trade distributor. Are they with Consortium? I forget.
They're with Lunar, I think, as well, aren't they? Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sure. Yeah, they will be with Lunar for the comic stores, and then but for the bookstore, the book trade, they have a book trade distributor. I forget which one it is, but I mean, I'm sure that the promotional materials are out there, and people have been ordering it by now.
Yeah, I'm sure it's up on Penguin Roundabouts over here. Yeah. No, I certainly have, man. Yeah. Absolutely.
So you going to be doing like a potential sort of promotional tour for it, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I'm going to be going around. Let's see. The first thing's going to be there's a small show in Iowa City called Ice Cream, which is happening in early, I guess, April 4th or 5th. Then there's I'm doing a sort of a introductory event at Mission Comics in San Francisco on August 18th or 19th, or 13th. All this is in April. Anyway, Mission Comics, Leaf Smith is a retailer. He's got a great store there in the Mission District in San Francisco. And then there's going to be another permanent damage show over in Los Angeles. That is April 19th. And I'll be there, with Tom Neely and Keenan Marshall Keller. They put on absolutely fantastic shows, and I've been to several of those.
We know those guys. I think Fingerman's at that as well, so I say
Nice.
hi to him.
Good.
We're
I haven't
friends
seen
with
him in a
Fingerman.
while.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah,
He is
he's busy
a
at
good
the moment.
guy. I've only met him a couple times. He's nice, and I'll be in San Diego just for I think a couple days. I don't. I
Oh,
don't
what,
know about the whole.
Comic Con? Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I'll go to SPX this year.
You are doing
Uh,
SPX, man. I can't this year, sadly, because I'm at Baltimore a couple of weeks beforehand. But
yeah.
oh, it's a shame. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'll have to get over on your side of the water too at some
Mate,
point.
definitely.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
It's a shame that On Glam's kind of in hiatus at the moment, because
Yeah.
you'd love that. Have you done that before?
I know you guys are really talking it up to me when we had
Yeah.
our infamous dinner, and yeah, I was thinking I'd like to go this year, but I asked Gary at Fantagraphics about it, and he's like, first of all, he's like, I think he said they weren't going to go or whatever, but anyway, I'll
It's
get
kind of
there.
half cancelled. It was half. It's been passed now. It was
No,
kind of half
I know what
cancelled.
happened there. I
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, and I'll probably go to some others in the fall. There's the one up in Seattle, the short run, and
Oh yeah.
I wanted to go last year, and they actually rejected me, and I'm like, okay.
Fuck off. What's wrong with them?
No, they're all right. I mean, I've met Megan Kelso. She's a nice person. She's a great artist. She's one of the people on the board. But
Right.
yeah, actually, Gary at Fana, he told me that if I mean, I can go and sign the thing at their table at that show.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have to.
Quite right too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But I'll be get.
so where? I mean, obviously we could talk for days, but like it seems you're quite a busy man. It seems this year. But
Fucking
like,
hell, Steve, you are,
if
aren't you?
people want to get the latest or find out where the upcoming shows and stuff, how can people follow you and your work?
Yeah, I have a Substack, so it's just
It's a
like
great Substack, man. Love your Substack.
Substack,
Yeah.
just under my name, Steve Lafler. And I don't charge for it, It's like, I'd probably, if I charge for it, I'd probably get 3 people. So
It's
Charge
so
people.
it's so
we don't
interesting,
charge
isn't
for
it?
ours.
People,
Yeah,
I don't
people love
wanna
it until they
charge.
got to pay for it, and then that's it. Yeah,
well, I don't want to charge people to read my promotion, So
yeah.
Good point.
yeah. Oh, geez. So yeah, I think the Substack's the number one. I do have a place called stevelafler.com. I kind of ignore it since I started my Substack, but I'm going to go back into stevelafler.com, and I'm going to update my catalog page there because I've got, I guess at this point, 9 graphic novels in print, and I just updated all the listings, and now I have to, then they're print on demand books. Now I have to go and update my catalog page at stevelafler.com. I'll get to that hopefully in the next couple of weeks here.
Can I also say your Instagram is always amusing. I do enjoy your little videos on there, man. Especially when you're
Yeah.
doing sort of your origins and what did you call it? The basement tapes. I forget now. Is that right? What did you call it? Was it a Dylan kind of thing?
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, and then you did a thing for St. Patrick's Day with wearing a green hat. That amused me a lot.
Yeah. I did.
And then the other thing that I'm a fan of is buying T-shirts by you from Redbubble. You were the
Yeah,
inspiration for us going on Redbubble. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I've got quite a few of them now. Yeah, they're good as
Yeah,
well.
well, Redbubble's easy. They
Yeah.
do a pretty good job, and I like kind of keep the prices low. I mean, I get about whatever $2-3 per shirt, but
Yeah,
it's a way. I mean, I was a screen printer for 40 years, and I always
right.
did my own printing, and but that was a business that funded my life while I was being a cartoonist and the rest of the time. But that business abruptly ended with COVID. I had a couple big clients left, and they folded as soon as COVID hit. So,
Right.
and I'd kind of been I kind of wasn't really doing the business that much anyway. So, bam, goodbye that. 4
Right.
years. Thank you very much.
Wow. And now it's just books, comics, and
Man,
more
you're
comics.
so busy.
Correct.
Yeah. So
You and hoity-toity novelists traveling around the Americas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Very hoity-toity.
listeners, go and follow Steve and like grab the books. Stay tuned to see when 1956 or whatever it may be called. Will be out later in the year, hopefully. And Steve, thank you for joining us. This has been brilliant, Steve.
Absolute joy, man.
Cheers, Steve.
I've had a great time talking to you guys, and yeah, we're just gonna come over and move in with you.
Do it.
Hey!
Do it.
How good was that?
Awesome.
Pretty darn good.
Yeah. See, like sometimes we have a reputation for being just nothing but nonsense, crude jokes.
Well earned.
Dan, I'm trying to make us seem to be legitimate, journalistic, like a journalistic source. The only source.
I don't think Parky often tells his underground cartoonist artist guests to get fucked when they try and say something. I don't think that often happens.
It doesn't say much anymore. God, I can't believe it. See,
we do a bit of like actual like sensible stuff and do talk to people about their books, what they're releasing. Not many people seem to be flying the torch, and I'm gonna give our bugle a bit of a fucking blow. And
wow,
he's
gonna blow our bugle, Tony.
Yeah.
Oh, well, was that it? Was that
that
all
was
the blowing?
blowing's over.
Right, okay, that didn't last long.
That ruined people blowing bugles ruined my carpet.
Have you ever had Bugles the Crisp? Have you had them?
Yeah,
I think so.
They're nice.
Yeah, I'm unsure. I'd like
You get them
them
from your
but I'm
local
not...
Londis.
Yeah. Or McCall.
You're going, I hate places that have got a Londis. They're so common.
That is a fucking lie. That's an absolute lie, that is.
Vince had nothing to but kind words for Londis.
Yeah, he said he really liked Londis. They're
look,
great for poor people.
I'm currently
That's
in the
what he
email
said.
chain. We might be able to get them as a sponsor.
He was saying the best thing about Londis, he said the 2-litre bottle was a Cherryade.
Cherry.
And the cheap cider for down and outs.
that is Cherryade. That is a fucking classic. That is. Do you remember Panda Pops?
Yeah.
That sort of that fizzy drink that had the sort of scum on the bottom of the bottle from all the fucking flavourings.
It's like Happy Panda like Coke, and it's like this don't taste like fucking Coke.
This tastes like sugar.
Like, yeah.
Probably cleans your toilets quite nicely though.
I brought my son up on those.
Yeah.
Good fathering.
Weaned him on Happy Shopper Coke. In the dummy.
Happy Shopper. Just all the fucking classic brands coming out today.
Do you know that Super Noodles currently have got a picture of Superman on the side of them?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is.
Really?
Yeah, true.
Well, yeah,
True story.
I can believe that, but like, I was just surprised by how excited Dan was about it.
Yeah. It's a reason to buy them.
Yeah. Well, they're a staple source for anybody's diet, I think we find. And a staple source for content. I hate calling it content, but it is this show.
Content providers, makers.
Yeah, deliverers.
Influencers. All the rest of it.
Yeah. I can't think of any other words.
Vince flamed out there.
I just completely, you used all the best words.
For goodness sake, have a biscuit.
We're going to be content recommenders, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah,
but before
shouts first.
Before that, don't you just love how we all know the structure of the show now? We're just completely on it. It's fantastic.
Only been doing it 10 years.
Yeah, and we still put each other off every week.
Yeah.
But do we
get your head around it soon.
Eventually. Just remember how to say your name at the end of the show, Dan.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any shout outs this week?
I have 3. If you're not listening to the Earth 2 podcast, you should be. This Thursday begins the JLA JSA Shazam crossover with a few surprise guests. Quite interesting. From Falp, Smoking Bedroom 1 and 2 is on Kickstarter in just a few days' time. Look out for his voice soon. A gambling private investigator wades into the grimmest UK underbelly. Gangsters failed eyes, deranged flowers, and very bad decisions in this. First issue of this I've read, brilliant. Second issue I should be getting the next couple of hours. One of my favourite books of 2024. This first issue, the second issue is going to be brilliant. You can go on Kickstarter and get that. On the 13th of February, the new Mary Boys is dropping. Well, I'm a fan of that book. So our buddies from Proper Comics. Things get hairy for our beloved Baldies and their wayward mentor, Father Parish. 40 pages, just gorgeous stuff. Cricket bats smash you up, and a chase and open top mini. Irreverent, violent, and excellent cartooning. Look for that on, I think it's on Indiegogo, I'm going to say that one is. Yeah, so look for that one. Mary Boys. There you go, my three.
Dan, what you got?
First one up, we've got Blam and Glam, sci-fi fantasy comic series, issues 1 to 13, still going strong. It's new.
13. Wow.
Yeah. From Richard Morgan, new episode of that. Man's fucking smashed his target. It's only a couple of days to act on that, so if you want to get on that, you better get going quick. Funded in 2 minutes. That's pretty fucking quick. Nice work.
That's good. Bloody hell.
Rich. Britformers. They've got a new issue from them. The Psychons #2 and Armed Force, which is Action Force, but kind of like a tweaking in the name. The Psychons are kind of like the Decepticons gone back to sort of the Jurassic period, and they just seem to be killing and eating dinosaurs, which is fucking hilarious. They got the second issue of that, which you can get the first one as well. It's a lot of fun. If you like the old kind of Transformers comics, this Nathan Webb, just does it in the style of them, art style. It's got the letters page, everything. It's a real nostalgia trip, so do go check that one out. We've got, God, it's coming around just around the corner. This Yo Comics, March 2026. Stanley Arts, 12 Saffron Hill, London, SE25 6AB. They're looking for more kids who want to come and make comics and share decorations at the fair. Do go check out that. And launching now, as you listen to this, will be issue 2 of Legacy Idols and Bones with previous guest Gary Seawood. Do go check that out. You can get issues 1 and 2 for that. He's done well. He's bumped out to 26 followers. Good stuff. Do go check out that. It's a real fun read. You can, if you've got a Global Comics subscription, you can go and read the first issue there, see if that's your cup of tea. And finally, Lawless Comic Con, 9th and 10th of May 2026, Doubletree by Hilton Hotel, Bristol, BS16NJ.
Oh, quickly one. Jay Horner sent us Republic through, which you can find on Global Comics as well. Go and read it. It's really good cartooning, I have to say. Really nice stuff.
Check that out.
Nice.
But here's a pop quiz. Who drew that cover?
Hang on. This is DC Infinity. What number is it?
Infinity Inc. 37.
The origin
Early work by someone.
Jim Lee. No.
That's a
what year is that?
That is. It's the same year as this came out.
Oh.
Let's see the cover again.
It is. I can't see. Before image.
Rob Liefeld.
Almost.
Todd McFarlane.
It's Todd Father.
Nice.
Yeah. So I just I came across it while I was listening today.
Oh, okay, nice.
Tony DeZuniga did the inking. There you go.
Nice. So, speaking of other comics, what have we got to recommend this week, chaps? Tony, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so my first one is Broken Lenses, Book 1, Rain, Rain, Go Away. Devised in 2011 and then remixed and represented by Bristol's own Richard Starzecki in 2024. The publisher of it is called Transfer of Power, which I believe is Richard's publisher. Described on his site as a scientific romance comic graphic novel, 72 pages, colour, perfect binding. It's so much more than that. There's a definitive mystery to this. This was a Kickstarter, which I'm ashamed to say I missed. I wish I had seen it. It's a mystery comic that featuring possibly the Venusian Atheist Society, who believe that Jesus visits the Earth in a UFO. Absolute real bunch of fun. This comic is really good. I'm going to say the cover doesn't really give away much of what's inside it. I think it's a better comic than the cover gives away, if I can have a slight criticism.
Man, I'm getting a lot of that nowadays.
Yeah, it's a very sort of design-heavy cover that doesn't reflect the interiors. Mr. Swill, a.k.a. Delwa Swill, that's the name, is our hero. He's been led to a church by a mysterious message. And when there, he is approaching the church, and a film falls out the air, like a Super 8 canister reel, falls out the air and hits near the ground. And as he's looking up in the spire, but he doesn't really see anything in the air. And then an anchor drops, and he runs and hides and climbs down this anchor as a suited person in a sort of quilted suit with a special crystal visor. And they're looking for something, but he hides. They don't spot him, and then they escape again. And he's just a dude who works in a university, but he barely escapes. But I mean, that is not the end of it at all. He's a scruffy dude. He's still outside the church, and this scruffy dude walks in, dressed as a priest but smoking, and carrying this machine. And he said, "What this fucking priest is smoking for?" And he looks in, and the priest has set up this machine in the church. And he manages to escape in his car, but the priest sees him, and so they've pegged him. They've seen him now. And then after a meeting with a woman called Mary, who is clearly not telling him everything she knows. He's drawn into this massive. It just massively explodes, this conspiracy. Secret societies and underground trains, kidnappings, storm wizards, who are these people who live in the clouds, a certain level of romance, special bases, platforms out at sea, tech billionaires, airships, the mysterious Magonians, and absolutely much, much more. There's loads of it. There's loads of it. I think I love this bit. This is what he's doing. His office is in Ballard House. Anything about Ballard, I love. I'm a big fan of his writing. And there's just so many twists and turns in it. Chases, secret bases, organisations. At one point towards the last third of it, I fully expected Doug McClure to come out of a room in an airship. And he's just this ordinary dude who's thrown into skymen, like these sort of sky longboats, powerful crystal weapons. It's just full-on adventure, but it's done with a quirky sense of humour about it as well. It reminds me of peak Paul Grist in a way. There's a little bit of that in there somewhere. It's adventure, but with funny people in it. Almost, it's got that little sense of it, and Richard really has skills. I've got to tell you, the cartooning is spot on, consistently great cartooning, and he uses sort of quite muted colouring, washes, single 2 to 3 colours on a page, that sort of thing. And he says he penciled and inked it, and they scanned it in for the rest, which he did in Procreate and Photoshop. On Instagram, you can find Richard Starzecki, Starzecki. Or you can look at his website, Starzecki, just the letter R, then starzecki.com. In the first issue, there's a preview of Volume 2 in the back, and he's got like a QR code for a handy playlist as well, which I kind of dig. But yeah, lovely surprise. Richard wrote in. He said, "You're always asking for comics, so here are some to have a look at."
Nice.
And I try and look at everything that lands in our email. I do the email bit, and this was a real pleasure to find. Absolute pleasure. Yeah, a really good one. Yeah, Broken Lenses book 1. Go look it up. My first one.
Nice. Dan, what have you got?
I've gone for a Junji Ito book called Deserter, which is a collection of some of his early works. It's not got quite the kind of artistic refinement that you find in his later stuff, but they're like 20 pages long each one, and they're fucking great. Like, a whole kind of series could be made out of one of his ideas. One of the ones that really stuck out to me is called The Long Hair in the Attic, about a young girl who's got like long black hair that goes down to the middle of her back, and the guy she's seeing is just like, "Look, I don't really care about you. I'm a bit of a playboy. I'll go and see another girl next week." And she's like, "Oh, it's my hair, the reason he doesn't like me." So she tries to cut off her hair, and it cuts to the next morning where her sister comes up, and her headless body is in her bedroom, and it comes to her hair is like now alive, and it's basically decapitated her, and the head is moving around in the rafters with the hair like kind of venom like symbiote moving it around like a spider. And it's like, this is so fucking creepy. It's really really good. If you want to read it, you can read it for free. And you're thinking, what pirate site are you going to read that, Dan? And I said, how dare you cast aspersions on me? Because it's on the Viz manga app. You can get for free. There's a whole
now, when you say for free, is it something you subscribe to and then you read, or can you read it just on the app?
There's loads of free.
Log into it, can't you? I think. Yeah.
You just log into it. There's loads of free books on there. Sometimes, like, say you want to read a long running series, it's got like 100 odd chapters. The first 20 might be locked behind a paywall, so you have to pay if you want to read the start, but there's tons on there that isn't. So if you ever like, a bit of a not sure what to read, there's loads of stuff on that, and it's only like a couple of quid a month, and there's so many books on it. It's I was reading free.
That's where I read that Golgo 13 on there. Yeah.
Oh, was that on there?
Well, it certainly was. Yeah.
Nice one. Yeah, and obviously shout out Kieran. There's Rooster Fighter on there. If that's your jam. So that's the second shout out. Go check out the Viz manga app, which is fucking great.
Nice. I've got a couple of quick brief mentions before I do my main one. One, if you like fun cartoons on Instagram, follow Beetlemoses on Instagram. I sent the chaps one strip of theirs.
Oh, is that where it's from?
Earlier today, and I've just sent them a couple of other ones because they always make me smile. They're just sort of quirky, fun, well thought out. They're I mean, the one I sent them earlier was what was it? My stupid teenage Gundam life. They're just one and done, funny strips. And that, so if you just need cheering up, and sometimes the world is quite. I mean, in the UK, it's grey and miserable, and it has been since the year began.
It's not fun.
That will always bring a smile. So at Beetlemoses, that's on Instagram. He's probably got a site or whatever. I finished the first volume of Absolute Wonder Woman and loved it. So that is my jam. But what I my recommend this week is
great crossover with Absolute Batman. Actually, I was a bit critical of the crossovers coming in so quickly, but when you think about it, it's been a couple of years, isn't it? But I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it went in both Wonder Woman and Batman. Yeah.
I thought Wonder Woman was going to be the weakest of the three, and I found it Superman by like a fucking.
I have to say, I'm going to say that Flash for me is the weakest.
I mean, out of like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman.
Oh, right, okay,
yeah. Wonder Woman was just, and I say this was someone that has no massive investment in the canon sort of character and stuff. We all know who they are, and that's the beauty of the Absolute ones, isn't it? You know the basis of them. Here's a new version of it, and it's just, as well as the art, like on all the issues being great, but just the design of the pages and stuff, the dialogue and the dramatic, the bombasticness of it, it's just I love it. I really enjoyed it. Another book that I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed catching up on. It was one of those. I realised that I hadn't. I've been meaning to catch up on a few issues of this. I went back to The Hunger and the Dusk, and
read
the entire second arc, book 2, written by G. Willow Wilson, art by Chris Wildgoose, colours by Masasic. I hope I got that right. Layouts Mark Lamming on this one. Letters by Simon Boland. Great fantasy series. With the start of the tale, and like the first issue of the second book, they give you the rundown of this human and orc battle. We've spoken about the issues quite a bit. This is just if you haven't read it, go back to issue 1. It's an IDW book. I know it's popular in Europe as well. I hope this one is going to be equally as popular.
He's just finished drawing it. Yeah. He texted me the day.
Awesome.
The whole series.
Right. So he's finished the third one.
I guess so. Yeah.
Because I did see that Chris on Instagram he did put a message out saying sorry I'm so, as always, it's like, sorry I'm so slow. It's like, fucking hell, you see these pages, mate, take forever if you want, if this is what we're going to get. Because it's such a beautiful book, but such a well written story of fragile political alliances when bigger threats abound. Yes, it deals with like humans and orcs and things like stuff like that. There's elements that people can say like you get the Dungeons and Dragons sort of theme to it, but there's also themes from other kind of, people might make Game of Thrones shorthands or things like that because of the political machinations that are going on. For me, why it works is because there's flavours of that, but it's its own thing, and it's a really interesting world that sort of teeters on a sort of knife edge. It feels like one person's that we follow these characters, and even though they don't seem like the most powerful characters in the world, the choices that they make could have massive consequences on the story. You know, even in the first arc, when you get to know this ragtag group of people, just a simple connection between an orc healer and a human mercenary is what there's a fragile piece, and if that doesn't work out, and the way it picks up in the second tale, just it feels like everything's naturally growing really well. There's cool characters. I did sort of wonder at some points, God, are any more of these the characters we've been following gonna die? I was a bit worried about that. But there's surprises, there's reveals, there's romances. The second arc leans more heavily into the romantic angle as well.
Okay.
But in a really good way, including there's a bit of a sex scene in it. Naughtiness, but classy stuff. Yeah. Like the stuff we'd see in those classic sword and sorcery films from the 80s.
Disgusting. Fucking hell, if it's that bad, I'm reading it.
Oh dear, but no, and it's really good. And like I read it out on I did read it on Global, and I was doing it sort of issues, but it was almost like I read the trade anyway, because it was just next, and it just flows as. I mean, we were reading it issue by issue anyway, the series, so it works fantastic like that. If you can only get your hands on one issue here and there, but if now's a perfect time. Is the second trade out? The second trade's out, isn't it? I think
second trade's out. Yeah.
So get hold of both.
Tell a lie. It's released on 23rd of June.
23rd of June. Oh, right.
That's a while yet. I've been listing my variants for that series. I bought some of the variants.
Hey,
that's good stuff there.
Nice. Yeah.
What's the prices like on MT?
Not what from the second-hand market sort of thing, back issue market.
Yeah.
I'll have to have a look. I'll have a look.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But no, just The Hunger and the Dusk. It was one of those. It wasn't like I forgot about the series, but it was like, oh, actually, I think. Yeah. Hang on, and I think in doing this, I reread some issues I had already read. But it was just reading it in this one chunk was just so good. So get your hands on the back issues now if you haven't been reading it in the issues, and definitely buy that. A lot of people go buy this in the trade anyway, and I'd imagine it'd be another gangbusters one in Europe because the French version went down quite well, didn't it, Tony? I believe they did.
I'm not sure, man. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure. I need to ask him.
Yeah. But great stuff. Get on board, and I can't wait for the third one.
However, it deserved to do better. That's what we're
exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're like books like this that are just so brilliant. Sometimes they just go.
I like the fact it's doing well though, because it means that our original art will be climbing up there. One day it'll make us millionaires.
Yeah. Anyway, and that's my little bundle. Tony, what have you got to finish off?
Catrina's Caravan, The Night of La Lecusa. This is from Chispa or Chispa Comics, $5.99. We've talked about Chispa before. They're a Latino comic label from Mucho Mass Media. Started in 2017, celebrating the Latino community. And now they're based in LA, but I also know on their website they say they're based in LA and London. So I didn't realise they must have a London element to it. So it might be an interesting one for us to talk to at some point.
Yeah.
Writer is Hector Rodriguez III. That's the name, isn't it? Artist is Guillermo Villarreal. Letters Hector Rodriguez III, and editor David Bowles. Maybe I'm guessing that's the London element. I'm going to guess there. There you go. Covered by Yasmin Flores Martinez. The interiors by Guillermo Villarreal. Real energy to them. Lovely bit of cartooning. I don't think that is again quite communicated by the cover. I've sent you the cover. I should really send you some of the interiors, but it's got a real energy to it, and the cover seems very static, very sort of single color as well. The story is really interesting, and there's 3 in this series. It's La Satissima Donna Catrina is a traveling storyteller. That's the last time I'm going to say that whole name. She's a bit of a horror host. But she's like she travels about the country telling audiences stories of horror sort of thing. So it's not just a horror host. It's not like Tharg introducing a story or something like that. There's the part of the narrative is her bookending it with a little story at each end, and there's a little twist at the end of it as well. And this one, she tells a story of a father and a son. They're crossing over the border from Mexico into the United States, and coming across them is they come across sort of desperate pair. They don't even have bags with them. They're just like running across the countryside, and they come across amateur border agents. So they're not like authorized law enforcement. They're just sort of amateur border people who are sort of trying to catch people. And they go, "Oh, we got a sex trafficker here," without even looking into the fact it's a father and son. You know, they're just not a nice bunch of people.
Right.
And they really are douchebags. But there's as they're sort of torturing and interrogating the pair, they come across the bottom of a tree has got like just the guts of something, the red guts from something. And the kid says, La Lecusa is coming for us. And I looked this up. La Lecusa is a shape-changing owl-headed monster that hunts people at night. It's sort of Mexican folklore. And this thing, as true to the story, does turn up and starts eating people. It's one of those ones where someone's standing there and their hands come through the bushes and just rip him apart, you know.
Oh, lovely.
There's a real intensity in it. There's a real lot of gore in it. And they step away from a certain horror trope. I think I'll spoil it because there's 3 issues in this series, but you know how people tend to die in horror movies because they deserve it. There's this sort of whether there's this they kind of deserve it. You're like, you know, teenagers who are having sex for the first time will get murdered, or
there's sort of like a morality.
Yeah. They flip that on the head in this. It's interesting. They play with that. Like I say, it's kind of got a feel of something that could come out maybe from the Mignolaverse for me a little bit, maybe an Image book, that sort of quality to it. However, issue 2 changes. It becomes more the style of cutesy comics that we get these days. Big shift in style. And issue 3, another big shift in style where it becomes much more photorealistic, where they're using people as models and stuff, I'm going to say. But issue 1, really, really strong, I have to say. I really did enjoy it. Look up Chispa, CHISPA Comics. You can find them, or look up Mucho Mass Media, Mucho then MAS Media, and you can find a copy of this. Really interesting concept. I hope they go back to using the same cartoonist for future stories, because it's had a real really got me buzzed this issue. And yeah, that's my first one. There you go. Second one. There you go.
Blimey, what a fantastic bunch of comics we've talked about this week. I don't know about you chaps, but I feel like doing it again next week, don't you?
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got an interesting guest again next week, haven't we?
Yeah.
I've got a feeling is it Fantagraphics he had a book out for us?
Oh my God. My God.
Is it I can't remember now. I'll have to look up.
February.
Yeah, that's nice, Dan. I like that.
Yeah.
But
he got Fanta. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Some fat bloke painted orange runs up and smacks you on the head.
Tango.
No,
Get your orange carbonated drinks right, Tony.
Sort of slap someone in the ear, burst their eardrum.
Yeah, people were doing it, weren't they, and getting in trouble for it, weren't they?
Yeah. Behave yourselves out there, people. That's what we say on this show.
No, we don't.
The idea of people copying a television advert now is ludicrous.
Yeah.
They do copy stuff they see on TikTok, and the fucking idiots.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's more likely, isn't it? Yeah.
Same idiots, different century.
Somebody coming up to you in the street trying to ask you a fucking question. Fuck off.
Different decade, sorry.
But stay tuned to this show for great questions and great answers and great guests and great comic chat. We've got some fun ones coming up in the future of all kinds. So look forward to that. And we hope you enjoyed this week's episode, everything that we talked about. Great insight into one hell of a career in comics. And looking forward to more to come from Steve. But if there's things that you want us to know about, shout out about, if you've got a comic that you're working on that you want us to check out, please do get in touch. There's several different ways you can do it. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. You can find us on social media at awesomecomicspod on Insta, at the awesomepod on X. Where did you listen to the show? Perhaps it was on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com, on the Podbean app, perhaps on Apple Podcasts. If you listened there, subscribe, just leave us a nice review, get us working up this algorithm. We're a little independent comics fucking podcast from the UK. Talk about a niche within a niche within a fucking niche. So please, so I'm just going to shamelessly say it, fucking shout about the show. Get more people. If you think people will be interested in independent comic books and the stuff we talk about on a weekly basis, please do tell them about the show. And
we're just here to promote other people. Like, try and help us.
Yeah. And we're also on Spotify, where you can like comment on that and leave nice reviews as well. Please do it. It helps with algorithms and stuff. I hate the fact that algorithms are a thing, but they are. So the more people...
I'm getting tortured on Instagram by algorithms.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah.
How so? We're getting the wrong things coming up.
Yeah. You can't mention it for reasons. We're also on Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife. What other networks are we on, Tony?
iBack will fuck you up.
Well, there you go. It's all one word. Remember that network. So when you type it into Google, there is also the ACP Slack community. Slack, which is like a forum like Discord or anything like that. We've set one up, and basically go to town. Like you can get in touch with us, join that community. There's creators, there's comic readers, there's people who just listen to the podcast, but it's a wonderful group of people who just want to talk about comics. We share out every week, but we also do like drink and draws or like drawing challenges and things like that. So do get involved. Even if you're a creator or perhaps if you just listen to the show, and keep the conversation going on there. I like checking out the podcast discussion.
I feel like we need to make a bit of an apology, me and you, Vince, because we did the big thing about like putting the paper-like screen on iPads. Apparently, there's quite a few people in the Slack who are scared to do it now because we said what.
Yeah, I think it's the description you gave Dan years ago of sitting there in the conference room hoping no dust landed on the screen was one that somebody quoted.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I was fucking like,
I haven't got one of those paper. Actually, have I got a screen on it anymore? I don't think so. What I can see is a lot of dirty thumb marks.
Honestly, getting the paper-like screen on the iPad, it's a game changer for drawing. It's so much better.
Really?
It's a lot more natural.
Really? Interesting. Do you know what I'd be like? Pen, ink, good old paper. Fucking analog. Yes! That's what I'm going to say.
You can do that. Other drawing.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Dan. That's great. Look, however you make your art is brilliant. Just make a decent art and then let us know about it. So join the Slack if you want. You can get merch, acpgear.redbubble.com if you want another way to help support the show. Talking about
and buy a Lafler t-shirt on there as well.
Yeah, not on the ACP one, but
but you can buy it in Redbubble. There's some good stuff there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to link it on the Substack tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good chat, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Search for Awesome Comics Podcast on Substack. Thank you to anyone who's listened to this show, who's listened to it exclusively through the Substack.
Quite a few at the moment.
Because trying to figure out what downloads are coming from where is a bloody nightmare, and my brain is a potato, so I can't figure it out. So thank you to anyone who listens via the Substack. You are heard. Your listens are being watched and heard. So thank you very much for listening. That didn't make any sense. So where can people find us online, etc.? Tony?
Neveronanything.com.
There you go. Dan?
You can find me on Twitter and you can read Vanguard at Vanguard.
Dan, right, darling, Dan, my darling, really? my sweet summer child. What I gave you? What did I say to you earlier?
I can't remember now.
You can't even remember that. I said, make sure you got your name right. So for when it comes to the shouts, okay. Let's start this again. Daniel Butcher, where can people find you and your work?
You can read my comic at vanguardcomic.com. I'm going to say Twitter. Fuck it.
There you go.
And seriously,
I said that fucking line for 10 years, and I can't. Last 2 weeks, fucked it up.
But you should check out the comic because it's fucking brilliant. You can find me on
speed before the next one starts.
Yeah, awesome. And you can find me on social media at Just Diablo. In all seriousness, thank you very much for listening, everyone, especially if you got to this part of the show. You're amazing, and we love you for it. And wherever you are in the world, we hope you're happy, healthy, doing okay. I mean, 2026 has already been a crazy year, but stick with us. We'll see you through, and we'll keep telling you about great comics, and we want to hear about your comics. So keep making wonderful comics, keep reading brilliant comics, and until you listen to us ruining your ears next week, what's the other thing they've got to do, chaps?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.